chat, and you can kindly share the link to someone and tell them that we are on. Just come in with so that we can learn together. Karibuni sana sana sana. I can see your good mornings. It's a sunny Friday. I can see the good mornings. Asanteni sana sana. And before we start, I always ask a question: where you're watching us from? Where you're watching us from? So you can share where you are. You can just share where you are. I can see from where: Migori, Kiambu. We are located, right now I'm sitting at our Westlands office, Westlands Road, a place called Dada Residence. So karibuni sana, Karatina, Malindi. And finally, I have the final question. Is it your first time to join us? Is it your first time to join us? If it is your first time to join us, kindly say a yes so that we can welcome you to the family. I can see a yes. Oh my goodness, I see yeses. Beth, Elijah, I see yeses. Karibuni sana, 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 sana. So my co-host has sent an invitation link. You can share. You can share the invitation link to somebody and tell them to just come in and learn. Tell them to come in and learn. Weekly, Francis, Alan, oh my God. We've been doing webinars. We've been doing these webinars for the longest. I started tax training in 2018 before COVID. And I learned about doing webinars online. That time we were doing them physical. We learned about webinar during COVID, and it is during COVID that we first did our webinars, tax webinars. Now we So apologies for that. Apologies, I guess even after doing so many webinars, we still sometimes struggle with a bit of coordination, but I'm back. Apologies for that. So I was saying that we've done so many webinars, and we always do these webinars every month. We first start with the tax trends, which I'm going to do today. So a 1 hour training, just 1 hour. And then next week, I think so. Let me look at my calendar so that I tell you the actual date. No, on 21st, we also have a webinar, a tax webinar, and we also have a sector-based webinar. I'm going to share those details at the end of the training today, and you can come in and learn. We do these webinars free of charge, just to allow people to understand more about taxation, more about bookkeeping, audits, and we tie bookkeeping and audits also for understanding for taxation purposes, to just allow and make you understand that everything that you do in the office and just to enhance your skills. So karibuni sana. We also have a taxation masterclass that we shall be starting on Monday. So because you're here, we are going to give you discounts for that masterclass. We are the best trainers when it comes to taxation in our country. So I'm very sure that you're going to get value out of it. Let's talk about tax trends today. Allow us to talk about tax trends. If you can see my sharing, you can say a yes. If you can see my sharing today, you can say a yes. If you can be able to see it. Yes, okay, I can see a few yeses, so that we can start. Let's start. Joseph commented, network is a major issue for your on your webinars. I apologize for that, Joseph. But if Joseph, you've handled webinars prior, you're always ready. You're always ready all the time until something happens. So these are some things that you cannot be able to control. And when something happens, we have the best Wi-Fi, best networks. So when those things happen, we just try to regain ourselves as quickly as possible. For us to be able to conduct this many webinars on a monthly basis, we have really invested on our networks and on our systems. So let's continue. So I can see you can be able to view our tax trends. So the content for the day, we're going to talk about a few changes for pay as you earn. I mentioned a few the other time last month if you came. So I'm going to mention a bit more on it. There are some changes also on NSSF contribution. There are also some new rules for exemptions on charitable organization. If you're operating a charitable organization, it will be very important for you to understand it. Tax amnesty is still ongoing. I'll mention a few issues. ITIM's reverse invoicing, it is still new, so I also mention how to go about it. I also mentioned other recent updates. There are few recent updates. And also, I don't know if you know that the budget is being written, and the finance bill, there are so many issues around that area. So I'll still mention a few. I also mentioned something about auto-population. I know some of us, we are still struggling with the VAT ITIMs auto-population. I'll still mention something about it. So let's proceed. What are the changes under pay as you earn? And pay as you earn is something that is very, very huge. It's something very wide. So I also would encourage you to come for our masterclass. We really train about pay as you earn, the benefits, the allowable deduction in length. There are so many things when it comes to food, fridge benefit, car benefit, house benefit. There are so many things under pay as you earn that actually you can train for 3 or 4 hours for you to be able to understand. So I'd encourage you to, if you want really to want to understand it better, you can come. So what are some of the changes? There are some changes on allowable deduction. This happening this year. So contribution to the Social Health Authority, this is SHA, are now allowed as deduction from taxable income. Remember when we talk about when we talk about allowable deductions, especially for profit and loss, to reduce your taxes. So if the company is doing contribution to SHA, that contribution to SHA is allowable deduction from their taxable income. So it can be able to reduce their taxable income and reduce their taxes. So it becomes an allowable deduction. Contribution to post-retirement medical fund are capped at 15,000 monthly. So as an organization, if you go to that, if you choose to do post-retirement medical fund, there's a capping of 15,000 per month. And I also mentioned the reason why we do capping. I'll mention in the next webinar. Affordable housing contribution are allowed to the extent of the employer's contribution. So the employer's contribution, the amount that the employer contributes for affordable housing, it's also an allowable deduction. So you can use it as an expense to the profit and loss and reduce your taxes. When we talk about increased pension contribution, so the employee contribution to a registered pension or provident fund have increased from about 240,000 per year or 20,000 per month to 360,000. This implies that individuals can claim a higher relief. Remember, when we talk about tax saving strategies for pay as you earn, the benefit that the employee can receive. Sorry. Yes, we shall share the slides. We shall share the slides at the end of the webinar. And there's a registration link that you have to do. So my co-host, you can share the registration link. When you do your registration there, we're going to share the notes to you. So this means when we talk about tax saving strategies for pay as you earn, these are strategies that employees can use to reduce their pay as you earn. The money that they're deducted, there's a way you can be able to reduce. We always talk about pension, mortgage, mortgages, those retirement benefits, contribution to a housing benefit schemes. Anything that you're going to do for the benefit of your future, there is a relief, there are interests that you're going to get, the premiums. And those premiums and the reliefs, they are used to lower your pay as you earn. So I always encourage, if you do pension contribution, if you do a mortgage, you're supposed to get those documentation and share with your HR so that you get those benefits. So it means that now, from 20,000, you can actually even contribute to 30,000 per month and get a relief. The reason why we cap, there's capping, for instance, it is used to help organization not overdo something. For instance, if an organization will realize that if we do a post-retirement benefit of 100,000 per employee, we don't pay taxes, they can do that. So it is always capped to just make sure that it is within limits that doesn't affect taxation payment at the end of the period. So there's also about free meals and other non-cash benefits. So when we talk about free meals, they are also capped. There's a capping. So the capping is about 4,000 per month. Yes. So the threshold meals provided by employee has increased from 48,000 to 60,000 annually. So it's about 4,000 per month per employee. That was coming to about 48,000. So for you who do meals, free meals within the organization, you can use that money as an allowable deduction from your taxable income. So it becomes when you offer those free meals. But also it has to be capped so that you don't over-offer the meals. I don't know if you understand that. So if you're going to give your employees now 60,000, possibly that would be about 5,000 per month. So that is 5,000 per employee. You can be able to do that. But if you're going now to give them buffets and everything, and possibly it comes to 10,000 per month per employee, then that 10,000 becomes a benefit to this employee, and they're supposed to pay taxes on that benefit. So it moves from being a free meal to become a benefit that should be taxable. And this also meals you as an organization, because it's an expense to you, you expense that amount in your profit and loss account as an allowable deduction, and you reduce your taxes. Non-cash benefits up to 60,000 per year also exempted from taxation. So if you give them a non-cash benefits, as long as it's not above 60,000 per year, is also exempted from taxation. If you give them 100,000, then that 100,000 becomes a benefit that should be taxed. So I hope I'm clear. So pay as you earn is one line that needs a lot of understanding, So I would encourage you to come for a taxation masterclass and learn about all these allowable deductions, the benefits, everything. And that's also training that we can do for employees. We have trained about pay as you earn for organization. You find organization has 100 employees, so many employees, and we give that training to just help the HR be able to do the pay as you earn properly, and also be able to also optimize how they do it. Changes in NSSF contribution, this was important because the effect is on February 1st, 2025. So there's an increase in the lower limit from 7,000 to 8,000. So this means that the lowest amount that you can pay for NSSF contribution is 480. And the upper limit now is increased from 2160 to 4320. An increase. And I've seen this all over social media. I don't know if you've been able to see that. I guess next time my co-host, my core trainer, we can be able to give, by the way, that's something that we can be able to show. Next time we can show a pay slip with all these deductions. So we can do that and show how that deduction is happening. So if you've been seeing this on social media, there are people who show a pay slip in January last year and a pay slip today. So showing all those SHA and NSSF changes, the affordable housing levy, everything. So so that is NSSF. Let's talk about charitable organizations. So there's a few rules on charitable organization, and these are some of the key provisions defining the charitable organization. Defining the definition of charitable organization: entities established exclusively for charitable purposes, such as relief of poverty, advancement of education or religion, and other public benefits, qualifies as charitable organization. So a more elaborated way to just explain what is a charitable organization. And I'm very sure when you're registering a charitable organization, you have to describe what you're doing, and you have to describe that it's not a money-making organization. So there are also tax exemptions criteria. Remember, if you're running a charitable organization, even for instance, an NGO or any other organization, a foundation, you must get a tax exemption. Sometimes we say this organization are exempted, but you must be able to receive an exemption certificate. Income derived from business activities is exempt if the business supports the organization charitable purposes. Beneficiaries of the charitable activities primarily conduct the business. Income is used solely for charitable activities. So I've gone to organizations like foundations, and you find for this organization to survive, or trust organizations, for it to survive, they have set up a business. For instance, it's a school. They are doing many schools, like they have 5 schools. They support communities with education, affordable education. You must show that the profit that you're making out of them is solely for charitable activities. So if you just define something that you're doing an activity within that NGO, or within that charitable organization, just to help getting money to operate, you have to show that portion, that you're not benefiting out of it or making profit and like a normal business. And I always find most of the charitable organizations that have a money-making enterprises, by the time you get that tax exemption, there's so many clarifications you have to show because of that money-making activities that you're having within the organization. Transition compliance. So the organizations with the existing tax exemptions must comply with the new rules by June 18, 2025. So we felt it was important because you have to have those tax exemptions and you have to comply with the new rules. Non-compliance may result to revocation of tax exemption status. And I've said if you are a charitable organization, you must get a tax exemption certificate. So that is also something that we do. There are so many documentation that you have to provide to KRA, but they'll give you a tax exemption for about 3 years, 5 years, depending on the nature of the organization. You operate within those 3 years with the tax exemption, then you reapply. Because organization change, the nature of organization change, so you cannot be provided a tax exemption for life. Application for tax exemption. To obtain or to renew tax exemption status, organization must apply to KRA with necessary document, including governance document and financial statement. So because we do this, there's a lot of documentation, and actually they even do a physical visit to the organization for you to qualify for that exemption. Donations are allowable deductions. So donations are deductible if they are made for tax exemption organization, do not result in taxable loss, not more than 50% of donation are to unrelated entities in a year. So also for you as an organization, whatever you are doing, and the donations that you're providing or you're giving out, it's also very, very important. Some of us use donation as an allowable deduction in our books. Donation is something that is a gray area. So you cannot put there that you did a donation of 500,000, a million. And there are so many, during a tax audit, if you do those donations, there are so many things that KRA counter checks to make sure that you're not doing those donations for tax evasion. Yeah, so if they do not result in, so you having that 1 million possibly is reducing your profits and making you lose, become in a loss or lower your profits. So if you're using a donation as an allowable expense, be able to understand that you need to properly keep your documents properly, because it is always a gray area with so many questions and queries. Tax amnesty, so that's about the charitable organization. If you're in that space, there's a lot to learn and you can also learn more. So tax amnesty, this is the amnesty that has been revived. So it is ending in June 30th, 2025. And it is covering periods up to 2023 December. So the previous tax amnesty was ending 2022, but now for this one, it is up to 2023. You can be able to get amnesty of penalties and interest when you pay your principal amount. It is very easy to do application. It is an automatic waiver. The moment you do your principal amount, the rest is just following very, very easily. You do an online application. Previously, I've shown people how to do the online application, but right now it's something that you can actually do it yourself. And if you're having arrears over the system, and this is the best time to look at it, because I don't see this amnesty coming again. The other time we really waited for the parliament to revive it again. So you can take advantage, and you don't have to pay for all the principal amount. The moment you pay for principal amount, you apply for that amnesty as you move backward or downward. Also, if you have penalties of non-filing, by the way, the amnesty is also giving full amnesty, non-filing is a penalty, is 10,000 for VAT, for pay as you earn 10,000 zote. It's giving amnesty. So even if you're an individual and you've not been able to file your return, you can file your return to date and apply for amnesty to just relieve all those penalties and interest, even for non-filing. So the now is to understand that is a few months, I guess about 3 months to the closure of the amnesty. So take advantage. I saw this week they say that they have waived 140 billion tax amnesty. Those are penalties and interest. But I also asked myself, if they have waived 140 billion, how much have they received as principal taxes? So it's a very good plan, and you can take advantage of it. So also, if you've been having a case, this is a tax audit case. For those years, 2023 backward, you can push it so that the case is finalized, so that you can pay for your principal amount and get the amnesty of penalties and interest. So just speed it up because of the amnesty. The other portion on the trends is reverse invoicing. I mentioned this the other time, the last month. This is something new on eTeams. They had said that they are going to do this, and now it is available on our eTeams machine. Whether you're using eTeams machine, the eTeams machine that you buy, or eTeams client that you download on your laptop, or the integrated version, you can be able to do reverse invoicing. This means if somebody comes to give you, if they are selling to you, this is a supplier. They are selling to you something and they tell you, I don't have eTeams. You can raise an eTeams on their behalf. So it's the reverse invoicing. So that you make sure that all your purchases, this is to make sure that all your purchases are eTeams compliant. So you cannot have an excuse that I did not receive an eTeams invoice because the client did not have a PIN, or they told me they did not have. No. Now, if they don't provide, you can raise an invoice. You can do reverse invoicing. This is mostly applicable for informal sectors. So if you're buying something from informal sectors, mostly they'll tell you, "Oh, we don't do this. We cannot be able to do this and this." So you can do that. You can do reverse invoicing. I always encourage, if you want to do reverse invoicing, of course, you need that person's PIN. You need the PIN. You need their PIN number because you have to input it there. So it's very important to have that conversation that I'm going to do reverse invoicing. Otherwise, if you don't do without their knowledge, you put them at risk of taxes, because the essence of ITIMS is this, is that it notifies KRA that there is a business transaction that happened at that particular point. So the moment they understand there's a business transaction, then taxes should be paid. So if this person does not understand, then they will not be able to pay their taxes at the right time. Remember, if you did ITIMS, because we did ITIMS 2024, yote, if you raised an ITIMS invoice, even as an individual, you must file your return this year. So the era that we were just doing, nil return, is coming to an end. So if you ever did an ITIMS invoice, you must do your return. You must show that business income, show the expenses, and pay the due taxes. Remember, ITIMS there are so many options for ITIMS. We have ITIMS Lite, which is the ITIMS USSD code, the *22#. We have the ITIMS client, the one you download free of charge. We have the machine that you buy, ITIMS enabled machine. And we don't have the Teams. There are people who are still using Teams. I'm very sure this year, before the end of the year, the Teams machine will be deactivated to allow us all of us to use ITIMS machine. The difference between Teams and ITIMS is one. The Teams machine does not have the stock management software, which the ITIMS has. So the stock means the Teams machine operates as the old ETR that we were using. The only difference is that Teams sends the information to KRA on real time. So they send information on real-time basis to KRA, but they don't do the stock inventory management. And last year, I really mentioned about ITIMS stock, the inventory management system on ITIMS. And I said, that is a game changer. And for you who is doing ITIMS, you should be extremely aware of it, because this year, 2024, 2025, those are some of the tax audit areas that KRA is going to do. So what is this stock management software? When you operate your ITIMS, I was mentioning the varieties of ITIMS. So nimefika ITIMS client, machine, there's an integration. You can do integration, and you can do online and offline. We have ITIMS through eCitizen. We also have ITIMS through the iTax portal. All those areas you can use ITIMS. So the stock management system, this is where, when you get an invoice, when you purchase an item, for instance, let me use a hardware. When you purchase an item, for instance, to sell in your hardware from your supplier, this you're buying cement from the manufacturer. When you come to your ITIMS, you're going to find these purchases on the ITIMS automatically. So you're going to see that purchase on the ITIMS machine. As long as they input your PIN, you're going to find it there automatically. And you say approve. The moment you say approve, you're supposed to push this purchase to stocks. Now, then one of these days we are going to do ITIMS, how to use ITIMS. I think so. So you're going to, we've done that training so many times. So I guess we should revive that, how to use the ITIMS, and the pros and cons and the risk that you put yourself when you're using the ITIMS. So you're going to push that purchase to your stocks, so that you can be able to sell. It is a point of sale. ITIMS is literally a point of sale. So you push them to your stock so that now you can sell to your customer. Remember the old ETR, we used to, when Regina will come to this, when Regina will go to the hardware, I would say, I want cement, I want steel bar, I want nails, and I want iron sheet. Everything, the cashier would say 50,000. And they will go to the ET, will go to the ETR, the old ETR, and do 50,000. Then the ETR will put 16% and get that receipt. But now ETIMS is different. This cashier has to go to the system and say what Regina bought. So she's going to say, Regina bought 10 bags of cement, 2 bars, 3 iron sheet, 2 nails, and the total cost is 50,000 and then 16%. So it is a point of sale. This information is very important to KRA. The other time is 50,000 without understanding what you bought. But now they have the stock management system that is elaborating what you actually bought. This is the catch now. You buy your items through your supplier, who supplies you with all invoice. By the manufacturers are very good with items. They give you items. You as your hardware, you don't sell 100% on items. So there are people who you do items, others you sell them cash because you want to lower your VAT element. So this is what happens. If you buy cement, for instance, the whole year, so items will be able to do an analysis for you. So you have bought purchases worth, for instance, they pick just cement without anything else. They say cement, you bought the whole year, you bought 10,000 bags. But now on the selling side, because you actually sell like 10% on items, most of us, 20%, wakienda sana 50%. So on the other side, you sold like 4,000 bags on items. So you have a deficit of 6,000 bags. So KRA will just write you an email and tell you, through the data on your items software, we find that you have 6,000 bags that you did not sell. Either these bags are in your stocks or it's under declarations. And they cite an audit out of that. They either see the cement physically and they do a physical count, which KRA does. They can do a physical count, or you have to give documentation of where the cement went. So, and the items machine is a game changer when it comes to tax compliance. And going forward, this is something that you that we have to really be careful about it. So how you're engaging with items, it is very important because that data that you're inputting there is an audit trigger. That will be the next audit. The next audits will be coming from how we use items. I think I did a lot of elaboration on that. So before I go to the next point, let me finish on items so that I can answer a few questions. I can see questions there. So there are other considerations on reverse invoicing. So we have the items Lite. This is the one that you can use on your phone, the *22# so the reverse invoicing is primarily benefit to small and medium, those SMEs and the M's that you can be able, that they don't give you the items, you can be able to do the reverse. There is something that they have done on items. That's what I want to mention. They have enhanced, and this was a circular that they sent, I guess, last week, that they have enhanced the items. You can do self-onboarding. If you remember, for us who did a lot of items, we were queuing at KRA. They have to verify, approve, and so many processes. So right now you can do self-onboarding for taxpayers. You can actually self-onboard and they can approve and the items system works. So that is it's a very good move to just make sure that it aligns. I also know that ITIMS previously has been having so many downtimes, but right now we can see a lot of stability on it. For multiple sources on one platform, for example, those using ITIMS client for invoicing can also access online portal as an alternative without needing additional approval. So previously, if you applied for ITIMS Lite, a ITIMS client that you download on your laptop, you could not be able to do ITIMS on the online portal, but now you can do. You can even do ITIMS on the eCitizen website. So it's available across board without needing the approval. Unified invoice access, you can be able to access all those invoices. So if you did invoices under ITIMS client, integration, eCitizen portal, you can see them, all of them together. Credit note and invoicing flexibility. The credit note, if you want to raise a credit note, you must raise a credit note on the system that you used. So if you used an invoice, if you raise an invoice on ITIMS client and you want to do a credit note, you have to go back there. You can't go to online portal to do the credit note. Why do these changes matter? This is an upgrade on ITIMS software, is available at no additional cost, and they're just trying to make it seamless as possible to just help us use it, ITIMS. And ITIMS is here to stay. So let me answer a few questions. Allow me to answer a few questions as I go to the next area. I know we have so many questions on ITIMS, and some of our businesses have been really affected by ITIMS, how we run it. So you have to really understand how to do it and still remain profitable. There are some, when ITIMS came on board, they said we cannot do business anymore, but you have to adjust. Must one be on ITIMS to be able to raise the reverse invoicing? Yes. I tried using the reverse invoicing, it's still available. I was told it is available on eCitizen account. You can try it now. There's so many changes they have done, possibly we see. Okay, so I can see some of you have been answered. ITIMS needs more elaboration. I guess we're going to do that. We are going to set a webinar where we elaborate a bit more. What of you only supply but do not have stock? Oh my God. So James, what business are you doing that you don't have stock? Remember, this stock and these purchases is automatic. You cannot have, if you're doing VAT and you must have purchases, and these purchases should be ITIMS compliant, you must give the supplier your password, your PIN. So those purchases are reflected on your ITIMS. That's why when you do auto-population, you find them. And those purchases come to become your stock. So not unless you're doing a service, but if you're selling something, that has to be there. What can I do if I'm running a school and no VAT for fees? Good question. So for ITIMS has about 4 categories. So there's ITIMS non-VAT. So if you're non-VAT means you're not on the threshold. You are 5 million and below the threshold. So that is non-VAT, and it is available and you can apply for it. We also have the ITIMS standard rated, which is 16%. We have the exempted and we have the zero rated. So all the rates are there. So for a school, because the school fees is exempted, you go that route. So there are schools, by the way, who are ETIMS compliant. If the supplier generated icon, there is a ETIMS currently, has it to reverse? Okay. Okay, so it's a bit about reverse invoicing. So you can check it better and see how it's working. Franklin is asking, so only the analogy of 10K bags sell 4K, remain 6, and account. What if the 6 were due to damages and unknowingly the seller disposed? Franklin, that explanation does not sell. It doesn't. It doesn't at all. By the way, if you talk about damages, you must show. During audit, you have to show. If the company was burnt, you must show evidence. You must show police abstracts. If you went to court, you show photos. So, and you cannot be able to. How do you damage 6,000? Have you been in business anyway? You you sold less, and then the other was damaged. So that story, no. How do you sort this? Where you don't issue ETR, but the customer withholds tax. So the Dorcas, the issue will be if they withhold and they actually pay KRA. For instance, I believe the withholding is coming from VAT. So if they do the 2% withholding and they remit and they do that certificate and they remit to KRA, that gives KRA a signal that you should be VAT registered. So make sure that you have those negotiations prior so that this person does not withhold. So there's withholding for VAT, there's withholding for income tax. So for income tax, there's no problem because you're going to enjoy that withholding at the end of the year when you'll be doing income tax. But if they withhold for VAT, it is a signal to KRA that you should be VAT registered, and they can do automatic, they can actually register you automatically. What happens to my returns from near return? I'm only operating a portion mill. Uh, so says if you're operating a portion mill and you're not anywhere on 5 million turnover, you're not doing ETIMS, you're okay to do a new return. But when that business will grow, you just come to the system naturally. One day someone comes and tells you, I want to give you, is a school or another institution, I want to give you work to do 100 or to do 10 bags, but you must give me an ETIMS invoice. So at that particular point, you get into the system. You are saying if you reverse a near if you reverse a near filing individual, he will be liable for tax immediately. No, he will not be liable for tax immediately. I said for that individual, for that company, and you do reverse invoicing because they did not give you the they did not give you an ETIMS invoice, so you raised on their behalf. It is signals to their side, to their PIN, that there is a business transaction that happened. So at the end of the year, for instance, all the invoices that we raised for year 2024, before June, you must do the business income and pay due taxes. So it will not be liable immediately, but before the end of the year, the subsequent year, they should be able to declare. And also those are the audit issues that are going to be raised out of ETIMS. So if this year you're going to do a new return and you raised an ETIMS invoice last year, KRA is going to signal you for an audit. Can I change ETIMS machine to online? Yes, I think it is possible. Does it mean every time I have expired goods and supplies have no return, I have no, 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 no. You know, if Dave, I'm very sure the expiry goods are not 6,000 bags. So those are minimal wastages, minimal expiry things. Those ones, there's no problem. There's no problem. The magnitude of that, the others, is where we have a problem. Let me proceed. I'll still come back to answer your questions because of time. Let me proceed so that I can finalize. We have a few slides. So let me talk about the affordable housing levy. So the housing levy, there's a move to do compliance efforts in the informal sectors. So the informal sectors in Kenya, there's that move to handle them. So the informal, remember the housing levy should be paid by everybody. But the first time when it came on board, it was targeted to employees. But now it is payable to landlords, and I've mentioned here before. So the landlords, the residential rental property, they do 7.5% on monthly rental income tax, and they do 1.5% of affordable housing levy every month. Then we have the turnover tax, who do 1.5% turnover tax, and they do 1.5% affordable housing levy. So it is pushed to be across all sectors, even the informal sector. So they want to come and enforce affordable housing levy. So they are deploying officers to visit your business to see if you're doing affordable housing levy. So if you see them there, they'll be looking for that money. Mostly when we get surveillance, the team that come for surveillance, mostly they come for two items. They come for ETIMS, to make sure that your ETIMS compliant. Remember, every business in Kenya should be ETIMS compliant. And they come for the affordable housing levy, and to make sure that you're registered for all taxes. So the outer population, I know the outer population has so many issues. It has so many issues, but I'm very sure that we are coping with it. I hope so. So let me mention a few areas on ETIMS. Just a minute, just 1 minute. So the outer population, so the outer population, this is where when you're filing your VAT, you're getting the outer population. You're getting the outer, you have to get that outer population of the return. You verify and then you file. It's like they are doing a pre-filing of that return. So previously, when it was introduced, it was giving us an opportunity to adjust the sales, the purchases, but at the moment, there is no adjustment. So you have to look at it and just look at it and file it as it is. So that is why I'm saying that ETIMS is something that is coming to push our compliance levels. There are a few issues that came up with the outer population where you're finding that you're having issues a lot of issues, but I see now there's a lot of improvement when it comes to the data accuracy, system issues. At least now the data accuracy is a much better. Possibly you can comment on the spot. Sometimes you find purchases that are not yours. Some other sales are added, but right now it's operating much better. So the outer population was to help KRA, of course, collect more, but on our side to reduce our workload. I don't know how. And we have a clear visibility of our tax liabilities. So that's what I had for today. You can tell me about how outer population is coming along. It's a new norm. That's what I would say. I've even trained about how to do outer population on e-teams and how to maneuver. But it's a new norm. You have to adjust to that. And I don't see a place where KRA is reverting to the older system where we're going to do the VAT on our side. So as long as you're able to balance them out, then it is okay. The only problem is that most of us were doing a lot of adjustments. So now when it's no longer able to adjust, you're now getting a hit. And some of you who are paying 100,000 worth of VAT, now it's pushing you to 300 or 500,000, which you feel now it is so much and you need to adjust. So what I can say, if you're paying more VAT than you were paying before, you need to adjust yourself and adjust how you are doing business. So you need to look at your gross margins, gross profit, and look at your costing so that you don't make losses when you're trying to pay taxes and to be afloat. So with that, I'm going to answer a few questions. And before I answer a few questions, I'm going to talk about who we are. We are RWK Africa. We were previously known as RWK and Associates. We are still doing those transitions. We do a lot of these webinars, and you can be able to see this webinar online. For this month, we are doing the tax trends, which we've done today. We have the taxation masterclass, which we are starting on Monday. And the taxation masterclass is 25,000, but we're giving a bonus today. If you be able to pay today, we're giving a bonus at 20,000, a full 5,000. We are giving that bonus. So if you be able to pay today, you can be able to receive the bonus of 20,000. You can be able to screenshot it and you can be able to pick on the team. My co-host, you can do a link there, a registration link. If you do want us to talk to you about the masterclass, you can be able to do there on the chat. Then someone is going to reach you and they are going to give you that discount. So it's purely discounted. ISPA gives 20 CPD points. They will give you 20 CPD points on it. It's quite very comprehensive, and it is 2 weeks. From 7 to 9 every day for 5 days. Then we do the other week 5 days, and we cover all taxes. We covered all taxes in Kenya, and we elaborate them as much as possible. At the tail end, we also talk about tax savings, tax trends, tax disputes. If you want to know more about disputes, the ADR, the tribunal, we really take you through comprehensively and all the documentation that should be done at that level. And it's something that is really going to enhance your taxation knowledge. So you can be able to pick the discount today. The other part we're going to do, we also have a CSR program that we've been learning. If you come on board, if you've been able to follow us, you can see the CSR program. We'll be doing a financial management for people who are doing business. It's a free on-site It's a physical training, free of charge. You can be able to look at our social media handles and be able to follow. We'll be doing taxation in circles and microfinance webinar. That will be on 19th. And 21st, I'll be talking about enhancing bookkeeping practices to save on tax. I'm very passionate about bookkeeping because if you don't keep your books properly, taxes become a very big major issue. So I'll be talking about that on 21st. And then the CSR program will be doing it on 22nd. So when I share these notes, you're going to see there. So we also have, so we do audit and we do taxation and we do bookkeeping in internal audits, and we are the best when it comes to all of those services. And you can talk to us if you need for tax services. We are in the audit season. We can also handle your audit. And as I mentioned here before, is that when you're doing audit, the person doing the audits they have to understand tax. If they don't, sometimes they really mess those books up. So we also have an accounting software that we have developed. This is a need that we saw in the market, especially for bookkeeping. And it is called My Accurate Books. It is available on Play Store. And before I want to answer your questions, and before I exit, I would request you for 10 minutes to just elaborate more about My Accurate Book software. And we are doing the eTeams integration. I'm very sure before the end of this month, the eTeams integration will be available, will be approved. We are going through the approval system with KRA, and we can be able to provide it. We can be able to provide an eTeams enabled. There are some of you who want an eTeams enabled, and some of you don't want to have those eTeams enabled. So, so it's available and on Play Store, and someone will talk about it. So we are located on Westlands, and our number is there. So let me answer a few questions. And then I call the team that is going to elaborate about the software. Okay, so I was at the expiry. How do you go about a case where a parent pays school fees by supplying with his or her farm produce? May you? It's okay. You can still issue. You can reissue a document. You can still receipt that, because this is something that they have brought. You know, it's going to reduce your expenditure for the farm produce that you are going to buy at the end of the day. So how will you account for those farm produce? You have to account for them anyhow on the profit and loss. So you have to show entry, and the entry is a receipt to this apparent. How do you receive invoice service offered? How do you reverse invoice services offered? I still think there's a way. We're going to do eTeams. We're going to do eTeams. One of these days, we're going to do eTeams elaboration, and then we can be able to do it together. But I want to encourage you. eTeams is very user-friendly. I would encourage you to just go and give it a try. Understand it. The more you engage with it, the more you understand it. Do I need to be on eTeams for a consultancy business where I have no stock and just... Okay, so for you, if you want to be on eTeams, it's not necessarily for you to be there, but for you find a customer who tells you, you have to give me an eatings invoice for us to do business together. So these are consultancy. You're going to offer consultancy to a company. They request you for that eatings. And you have now to be on the system so that you can give them that eatings invoice. So for those people who are not on eatings, you don't come to eatings voluntarily. No, you are pushed there. You're actually pushed there. So when you get that customer, they can't give you business until you give them eating. So you just get to the system naturally. But if there's nobody who is asking you, good for you. But it's just for a time. If you want your business to grow, and if, for instance, if you want if today you want to do a business, a consultancy for 1 million, I'm very sure you're not going to do it without eatings. So if you're aspiring to grow, you go that route. What are taxes that affect a private school? Most of the schools, the biggest taxes is pay as you earn, is for staff costs. So the pay as you earn for staff cost is the biggest tax. And for pay as you earn, you do pay as you earn, you do SHA, you do NSSF, you do housing levy and NITA, 5 of them. So when you engage in pay as you earn, you have to consider the other portions. Of course, if you make profits at the end of the year, you must pay the 30% corporation tax. So that one is also there. The only exemption is on VAT. What if you only adjust stock during invoicing? How would that affect inventory audit? What if you only adjust stock during invoicing? Andrew, I did not understand your question. Remember your purchases, you purchase from a manufacturer, and this manufacturer wrote there 1,000 bags. So I don't know how you're going to adjust your purchases because your purchases are already on eatings. What you're adjusting on your side is sales. And sales, you choose who to sell on eatings and who not to sell. And that's why I was saying that is when at that point, you find some of you, especially people who you have a lot of purchases on eatings, but you regulate how you're selling your sales on eatings. So you find you even have credit over and over and over. It's not a good sign. KRA is going to audit your eatings and they are going to find that you have a lot of purchases which you're not selling. And that becomes an audit trigger, a tax audit trigger. Francis Service says, stop sending me these messages. Francis, we send you messages because we want to train you tax. So you can come on board, but we can exit you. My co-host, you can find the email address so that we can do that. We can honor that request. How do you do affordable housing levy to small businesses? So to small businesses, they are supposed to do affordable housing levy at 1.5% voluntarily, just voluntary. So you're supposed to do that. And remember, you're also supposed to do turnover tax for businesses that is above 1 million per turnover per year. So remember this. Out of population, it is picking previous month sales, which were not submitted to KRA, and yet we have already adjusted those sales by manually increasing those sales. So out of population has a lot of issues. You have to understand it properly. And if you're having a lot of issues, I will encourage you to pick our number. Someone can, we also have a calendar. My co-host, kindly, you can do a calendar booking. You can do a calendar booking where we can answer your question free of charge for 30 minutes. 30 minutes free of charge. The other period of time, you pay for it. So for out of population, I know there's a lot of issues which are technical. which are technical, and possibly the technical people can be able to answer that portion. So you get CPD points after getting the certificate, and you apply for those CPDs through ISPAC. We're going to show you how. We are going to show you how. How does one solve the issue of import? So some of these things possibly you can query KRA. Yes, do you have another master class coming soon? Yes, I'm going to show you. We have other master classes next. No, in the month of May, we have an audit and bookkeeping master class. Then we're also going to do taxation master class later. Yes, you're going to share. When I share the notes, it has a bit of our calendars, so you can be able to view our calendars. Please comment on taxes for those import, export, and contractual businesses. By the way, we are planning a webinar for export business for next month. Possibly, John, you can come along. Some of these are very long, so I wouldn't be able to understand where to share and which one to leave. I have an ETR machine, James. Which one? We stopped using ETR. We are using eTIMS. I don't stock anything. I only buy and supply, that's all. Now, do I need an eTIMS store? No, eTIMS has the stock management system inside it, just inside. Yes, 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 yes. Pamela, as a layperson, can I download? Yes, can I download my accurate books and use it? It is extremely user-friendly. One of the areas that we really wanted to target when we were creating my accurate books was to make it extremely user-friendly, that when you don't even have the accounting background, you can still use it. Actually, our idea was to capture that market that don't have the accounting background to be able to use the accounting software. So you can actually download it within a minute and be able to use it. Within 5 minutes, you should be able to use it. Kindly give me your contact. I'll give you. So you can get our contact 0728. Someone to my co-host, you can type the number, our office line. Joshua, you can call and tell that you want to talk to me. I'm in the office. I will talk to you. Your webinars have been like informing and life-changing. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So it's about college. Basic salary of 23,000. So remember, if you're 24,000 and below, you're not charged pay as you earn. But now if you add the housing allowance of 2,000, now you become at 25. I guess 25, you pay less than 100 shillings. Remember the pay as you earn, the pay portal on iTax calculates the pay you're supposed to pay automatically. So you don't even have to be, you don't have to be really be able to understand how it operates. It's automatic. You just key in the amount, the benefits that it flows, and it's going to calculate the pay you're supposed to pay. So I see eTeams is one of our greatest. We're going to prepare that possibly for next month, and you can come on board and learn. We can do a demo for eTeams. And some of these things, how to do eTeams, how to actually monitor those stocks the way I mentioned. We can do that. So with that, because of time, I welcome my team. Kindly give my team, John, 10 minutes of your time. If you have more questions, some of them I saw they were so long to read. Kindly do the calendar booking. I'm going to answer your question without pay. And if you need our services, you can actually pick that number. My co-host, kindly do the number. Our number on the chat, our office number on the chat, and allow people to come. So John, are you ready? It will only take 10 minutes to just be able to see how the system is operating. And you can be able to use it. So John, I'll exit when you start sharing. So karibuni sana, always be there when we share the link, when we share something, just come along and learn. Tax is very dynamic. The more you understand, the more you are able to do better business as you proceed. If you're thinking to do consultancy in this line, it's also very important to understand more. When you understand more, you're able to guide your clients a bit more.
Right. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. So thank you very much for the opportunity. And I'm happy to take you through my accurate books and the benefits that you stand to gain by subscribing to this bookkeeping software. Now, I know as a business person, it can be frustrating for example, when it's tax season and your records are all over the place. At the same time, you might be asking yourselves, how many hours could you save each month with an automated bookkeeping solution? So you could be asking yourself, why should bookkeeping be a headache when technology can make it can make it effortless? So, ladies and gentlemen, this morning, when we talk of my accurate books, the big solution that comes with it is how you can simplify or consolidate your reports as a business person, or as an accountant, or even as a business owner. So now, the advantages of using my accurate book is that even without a background in accounts, it is an easy software to navigate. So it wouldn't require you to have a background in accounts. As long as you can use your phone or you can use your computer, you are able to navigate through this system. Secondly, it gives you, or how it's been made, we've made sure that it is protected. There are firewalls in place so that your information is protected from any form of infiltration. And the fact that information is stored in the cloud, you are assured that even if you lost your gadgets, you would still access that information. And when it comes to cost, the advantage of the cost is that for the first 2 weeks, you're able to access it for free. If you go to Play Store, just type My Accurate Books, and you're in a position to download it and create an account. If it is a business account, I would advise that if it's a business logo, you make sure it's accessible. If it is information about the location of the business, you make sure that that is also accessible, because when it comes to creating that account, you will require all that information. Secondly, if you are using maybe your laptop or your office PC, you can also type on your web search, My Accurate Books, and you will be in a position to see what I've shared on this screen. In the event that you've downloaded it on your phone, this is the outlook that you're going to see. Now, my assumption is that if not all of you, most of you may not be having this account, and therefore you will click on Don't Have an Account. Now, from there, this is the page that you'll get, where you'll put in your name of the business, email of the business, and even location of the business. And the advantage is that as soon as you fill all this data, when it comes to filling the business number, you can verify that so that you create that account. Why is it important that if it's a business, you have your logo ready? Down here, you can see that there is a place where you can upload your business logo. Ultimately, when let me sign in so that you see what I'm talking about. A moment, and I know a logo has been shared. In a few. So as soon as you download and you've created your account, this will be your landing page. And when I talk of dashboard, this is where you get your sales report, expenses report, purchases for any business. In fact, even at home, their expenses. And the system has put into consideration that in any business, apart from sales and purchases, there is also expenses, so that when you're getting a consolidated report, you're able, or the P&L report, you're able to tell how your business is performing. So being a new user, when it comes to items over here, you're able to upload items that you're able to upload items that or services. If you're in the service industry, you're able to update services that you offer and their costing on this system. If it is a product, you're able to indicate how much it costed you to purchase that product and indicate the cost that you're going to sell that product, uh, the cost of that product. And when it comes to sales, there are over here, you can process or you can generate a quotation from this system. You can also be in a position to generate an invoice. And the fact that you created this account with your business details, if it's an invoice or a quotation or a receipt or any document that is going out, whether it's a credit note or debit note, it will have your business details. So it is easy to do that in this system. Again, if you wish to indicate that your products have maybe they have VAT, they are enabled in this system. And we can do one example. For example, you want to do a banner. No, you want to sell a banner, sorry. Over here, you indicate payment method. In this system, payment can be in cash, it can be through the bank transfer or through M-Pesa. In this case, let's say that the payment will be made in cash. And as a business person, because you want to maximize on profits, you say that you're not going to give any discount. Now, if, for example, you're selling milk, and your customer is John Gashoka. So if the unit price, for example, is 70 bob per liter, and you're buying, for example, 5 liters, it will give you the whole cost. And in this case, now that there is no tax implication, it is zero rated. And therefore, if you add that, when you go to your receipts, this is where your receipt is, and you can be in a position to download it. So John Gashoka has sold 5 liters of milk at 70 bob each. So the whole amount is 350. If I had included tax, that is 16% VAT, it would be included in that costing or in that receipt. Now, when it comes to reports or when it comes to expenses and purchases, you're in a position to do a PO in this system to your suppliers in case you're asking for raw materials or products. And after that, if the products do not meet your standard or maybe they are expired, you can do a debit note to the supplier. And in the event that you have one supplier or 5 of them, you can update their details in this system so that when you're generating your purchase order, you don't have to write maybe anonymous or you keep writing names. The system will give you the names that you fed into the system. So sometimes you may not be in a position to pay the whole amount of goods or services delivered to your business. So over here, if a payment is done partially, you can be in a position to update it, because when things are delivered and updated in this system, they will indicate whether you've paid in full, you've paid partially, you've not paid, and you intend to pay within a certain date. The advantage is that there is a reminder. For example, if you're supposed to pay in the next 5 days, by the third day, you'll get a reminder to pay for your purchases. So this will help you in prudent management of your business. When it comes to expenses, there are many expenses that a business incur. For example, electricity bill, water bill, rent, internet for those who use internet, and any other. If you buy lunch for your staff, or if you buy lunch from the business, that is a cost that the business incur. And therefore, it is important that you feed it into the system so that when you come to reports, the report will help you in stock. You'll get to understand how your goods are moving. Basically, this will inform you on the days that your business is performing or the days that the business is not as good, and as well as which product is or service is moving so that you can plan well. When it comes to P&L, you are able to tell whether your business is a joke or your business is making profit. An example of this business is that it is making profit, because if you look at the P&L, it has 197,000. So on a daily basis, you are able to tell how you are performing, and this is daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and even in a year's time. And you can extract your reports whether in PDF or in Excel. So this will make your work easier. Basically, the system is helping you minimize on paperwork. I know sometimes some of you may have lost business because maybe your books were not in place, and therefore getting to sort out the paperwork and everything, maybe the deadline passed, and that had an impact on your business. With this system, you have solved that problem because all your information is in one place. And finally, when we go to the user management, sometimes you might be having more than one staff, and you intend to assign different roles to this your staff. Therefore, under this system, you can assign roles. You can add a user. Now that you are the admin, you can decide to give someone else a role, maybe a cashier or an accountant, or even a salesperson. And you will assign them limited roles. For example, for a cashier, they're in charge of sales. They could be in charge of inventory and even in charge of reports, so that when necessary, they can pull out reports that would be used to advise on decision making in the business. And to conclude, apart from assigning roles, because I would wish to give you time to ask questions, apart from that, when you come to your profile, I know Daktari mentioned that we are sorting out the eating issues. As soon as this is sorted, it will help you to integrate your business with KRA. And you might be asking, this is a wonderful innovation. How much would it cost me? As I mentioned, it would only, for the first 2 weeks, we allow you to use it for free, because we believe it is important you understand how it works. And the good thing as well is that we do have round the clock support system, in that if you hit a wall, our team will be in a position to respond to your queries and to help you navigate. And after the 2 weeks, you can now subscribe, and it's only 500 shillings, and in a year, 5,500. Where would you get such an offer? You can only get it here at RWK Africa and using my accurate books. And after that, even when you have queries on bookkeeping, our team is happy to help you navigate and help you make things easier for you. That is our biggest assignment, to help simplify your business, because we know you love your business, but sometimes consolidating all these reports might be a hassle. And through the system, we intend to help you solve that puzzle. I open the floor for questions. So if you have a question, questions streaming in. Can't see that. All right.
So John, there are questions on the chat.
Right.
Possibly you can open the chat.
Okay. So I see there's a question from Pamela. Pamela, you asked that I repeat, 500 shillings is per month, and for the whole year is only 5,500 shillings only. So that is the much that you're going to invest towards this system, and you can be sure it will solve all the hassles that you might be having for your business. I see Huma has a question. What happens when one has multiple businesses and wants to have one login at the same? Wonderful. These are wonderful questions. Allow me to go back for a moment, because how the system works is that you can open branch under this system. You see where the branches are. This is something we are working on, and it shouldn't take a month, because again, as a way of providing solution and simplifying your accounting work, we want that the administrator can be in a position to get information from all the branches, or all. For example, there is one client who is a farmer, and they have seven greenhouses, and she was like, she needs to monitor the expenses and the income from each of the greenhouse. So that is why we are fast tracking the branch management aspect of business, because we believe that as an administrator, in the event that you have different branches, you should be in a position to get reports even without stepping your foot to all the branches. You're able to get your reports remotely. So that is something that is on top of our priority at the moment, Huma. So there's a question from PM. PM, what is the security of my company's data and infiltration of third parties? So one of the things that we've invested in is putting in place firewalls to ensure that your business is protected from any form of infiltration. And in the event that there is someone attempting to do that, there is an alert, and we are able to take care of that on your behalf, Bwana PM. William, I see you are asking, can I use this system for my salon, since saloonists are paid a commission from 40% of what they make? Can your system sort this? That is William. So the system can help you manage that. The other question is, can I use this for an NGO receiving grants? So in the event that you are in the NGO sector, this is also applicable to that sector, because when a grant comes in, you consider that an income on behalf of the organization. And therefore, when the implementation of the project or implementation of the grant, of course, that will be money out. You are able to track money out through this system. And I see John is asking, is the system applicable with a faith-based organization? Yes, it is. The good thing with this system is that it tracks the money that comes in, the money that goes out, and even basically gives you a report on how maybe money going out is performing. Because, for example, in the event that it is a grant, or in the event that it is a church, you might be having projects. You need to track, for the money raised, you need to track how you're performing in regards to implementation of that project. And therefore, this project is a savior in that aspect. So I see Rachel, will I be able to put the client's KRA PIN on the invoice? So in the event that you are invoicing a client, you are able to do that in this system. And I think, Rachel, if it's okay with you, we can have a conversation on the side on how you can do that from the system. Please share your details with us. I'm happy to follow up on that. Sorted and so is it integrated with banking? So thank you. This is Tom. Tom, when you look at this system, when you upgrade, after the 2 weeks when you upgrade, there will be integration with the mobile and mobile banking and bank integration. So as soon as, in fact, you don't have to wait for the 2 weeks. Why don't we do it today? So that if it is an urgent matter, we sort it out once and for all. Because under the standard package, which is tier 2, you are able to integrate both M-Pesa and bank transaction. All right. Now we'll, is it? So now, as a follow-up by George from the question that Huma G made, the good thing is that when you have different branches, they have different reports. So it is not as consolidated. You first get a branch report. George, when you're operating branches, each branch has its report. So in the evening or at the end of the week, you're able to extract independent reports from the different branches. I hope that answers your question. So I see there is a question from Jacinta. How will the system work on an organization with a parlor in a college? So Jacinta, being a bookkeeping system, and now that it is multi-sectoral, it is in a position to help you manage your parlor and manage your institution as well. But now, in that case, you're only going to create a branch. If you want to check revenue from the parlor, you do that from one branch. And if you want to check a report from the college, you will do that as an independent branch. All right. Unless there's another question. All right. Kindly record Rachel's details. In case of that, yes, Bernard Kipchumba, thank you for your question. So in the event that there's a downtime, I would say our turnaround time is between 1 and 2 hours. And in the event that it delays half a day. I would like to follow up with, there was a question.
Okay, so thank you so much, John. Asante sana. So thank you also for everybody for being on board. So you can download my Accurate books on Play Store. We still are working on it to be available on App Store. So it is going to be available possibly in the next month. And we're also working on Intim's integration. The point of sale is totally free, so you can download it and actually interact with it. So the POS, point of sale, is free of charge. Interact, and after interaction, you can now graduate to the paid version. And the paid version tier 2 is only 500 shillings. You can also come on board. We do demos every Friday. We do demos for it every Friday to just help you navigate better. And it is very simplified for you to be able to understand. So you can go ahead and download. Our numbers are there. We can also do a customized version. So if you need, the number is still there, you can still register and tell us, and someone is going to answer you. So with that, asanteni sana. Thank you for coming on board. God bless you. God bless you. Have a lovely Saturday. Someone is asking, can I use it for my consultancy? Yes, you do. That's what we are doing right now, because we are doing bookkeeping services. We are onboarding customers and clients on it. It is very, very effective. So if you have customers, instead of integrating them to very expensive accounting software, you can use it. So per customer, one system. Not unless they are branches or they are businesses owned by one person. With that, God bless you. Have a lovely Friday and see you the next time. God bless you.